Hello friends, today we will see how to make a Firebase login app with a custom email ID and password. So let us begin. So in this, what we are going to do is we are going to create three activities. One will be a home page, which is your dashboard where you land after login. One will be a register page where a user has to enter register entries, and one will be the login page where login credentials will be entered and the user can go to the dashboard. So there are two pages from which dashboards can be accessed, login and register. So our main activity is basically the home page, and if there is no user currently logged in, the app will go to the login page. And if there is no login, if your login credentials do not exist, you have to register. Click on the register, and then you go to the register page where you can enter your email and password, and the Firebase will create a user and will log you in, and then it will move to logout page. So let us begin. If you are new to this channel or if you are coming first time, I will request to please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you can receive the intimation. You can never miss the video. So I hope you will learn something from this. Launch the Android Studio. Click on the new project. Select the empty activity. Click next. We have to give a name. Let us call it Firebase login. The package name, the location you can choose, then click finish. Everything, just leave it. Now you can see Android Studio is opening. You can see the main activity.java has opened and activity main.xml has opened. So we'll go to the activity main.xml and let us first design our main activity. We go to the layout, and if you see the design view, you can see there is a hello world in between which we don't use, and now we will change it. So first of all, let us connect the project to Firebase. So go to the tools, select Firebase, and then on the right side you will see the Firebase. You can see the authenticator and connect the authenticate using custom email ID. Now go to the Firebase console and create a new project and give a name to your project. So I'm giving here Firebase login. Then click continue. You can also enable Google Analytics for the project. Select the account and create project, and the project is being created. Press continue. You can see the project has been created. Now this is the page where you can register your app, but we will do it from the Android Studio. Click on connect to Firebase. It is asking for building the project first, and then it will launch the web where it will show the project which you have to connect, and you can connect from here also. Just press the connect, and it says that your Android Studio project is connected to your Firebase Android app. Now it is showing connected green. Now next is authentication. So click on this and you will see there are some dependencies which you have to accept, and will sync the dependencies. So now once you click on this, you will see that your project is created. You can see the package name. Go to the settings and you can see all the details. There is a Google service.json which we don't need since we have already connected. Here SHA, we will need SHA1 certificate fingerprints. So how to get that? In latest Android Studio, you have to go to the Gradle and click on the app and click on the Gradle symbol, and then you will see there is a window opening. So here you can write Gradle signing report and click. Once you run it, you will see in the run window below there is SHA1 and there is SHA256. Please copy the SHA1 and add fingerprints and paste here and save button. So your SHA1 is saved. There is a change in this actually. Earlier it was differently located, but this latest Android Studio, this is the way to do it. Here we have to do one thing in the console, that here you have to enable the, then you go to the authentication and methods and enable the email method this way and click save, so that you will be enabled for creating users by custom email ID. There are many methods given here. You can do it by Google or many different methods, but right now our project is we are doing with the help of custom email ID. So we are enabling that. Now we will go to the main activity and let us go to the XML where we will change it. So first we will change the layout to relative layout. Then in the text view, we will change the text to welcome to homepage. We are building a homepage now. Let us delete all the constraints. Give an ID. So the ID we can give text welcome. Let us give some margin on the layout. So margin will be 10 dp. These are optional things which you can do as per your convenience. Text view I am putting into center, layout center and parent equal to true. Then I will create a button. So it will be, width will be match parent, height will be wrap content. ID will be button log out. So this is the page where only there is a button log out. There is nothing else. There is a welcome text and a logout button. Now we'll, since it should be below the text view, we'll write Android layout below ID text welcome. The text on the button we can write logout. You can see the design and you can see there is a welcome page has, welcome text has come and a logout button is appeared. We can use a margin. The size of the text we can set 20 dp, so it will be slightly bigger, and also we will give some margin below, margin bottom equal to 20 dp. So now it is properly placed. So everything is properly placed, and in the main activity we will write Firebase auth mauth. Then we will also create the variable button logout. This button we have to import, so press alt enter and import the class. So the class has imported. Now we can put a private here. Now we have to initialize the mauth variable. So mauth equal to Firebase auth dot get instance. Now button logout equal to find view by ID r dot id dot. So ID we have given is button logout. Now we will write button logout dot set on click listener new view v. So it automatically comes, and we will create a function. We'll write a function logout. We'll create the logout function outside the onCreate method inside the main activity private void logout. Here we will write Firebase auth dot get instance dot sign out, and then as soon as the sign out is done, we are gonna write start activity and new intent. If intent is showing red, you can press alt enter. Also main activity in the intent we will move from this main activity dot this to login activity dot class. This another empty activity we will create now. This we have to change to public. Another function we will create, public void on start super dot on start. Now we'll write Firebase user current user equal to mauth dot get current user. If the current user is null, then we will write start activity, new intent, main activity dot this to login activity. If there is no user logged in, we will move to login activity. If there is already a user, then we will be on the main activity. So our main activity is done. Only thing we have to create, we have to write override here. So now let us create an empty activity and name it login activity. Click finish. Now the login activity has come, so we'll go to the XML and we'll change the layout to relative layout, and we will again give here a margin of around 10 dp here. Then we will create a text view. We will write match parent, width, height is wrap content, ID we can assign ID slash text login. Then other attributes we can give text. We can define enter login credentials. And text size, we'll just keep it slightly bigger, 20 dp. And margin bottom, we will define 20 dp. Then we will define edit text. So width will be again match parent and height will be again wrap content. ID here we will write ID slash login email. Then hint we will give email, and margin bottom we will define 20 dp, and it should be below the text, so we will define layout below ID slash let us check it is text login. Since it's a relative layout, so everything is relative to each other. Now below the edit text we are gonna define another edit text for the password. So we will change the ID, copy this and change the ID to login password, and hint will be password, and it will be layout below text. Instead of text login, it will be login email, so it will be placed below. The margin is same. So now we will define a button for register. So width will be match parent and height will be wrap content. ID we can define login. It should be below ID slash login password, so it will be placed below our second edit text. Now text on the button will be login. Now margin bottom we can define 20 dp. So that's it for the button. Last we will define a text view. So width will be match parent, height will be wrap content, and ID will be text register. Let us call it by that name. Then it should be placed below the button. So let us put the respective ID here. Then text on the text view will be new user register. So if the user is new and not existing user, so he can click this and go to the register page. There is some margin bottom 20 dp. Now let us see the design. So there is a login credentials, though 2 edit box, 1 button, and 1 is new register. Let us put the last text view on the center. So text alignment equal to center, and you can see the text is now placed properly in the center, and our login page is designed. Now we can go to the login activity. So here we have to now create variables. So first will be obviously Firebase auth. Since we are working on authentication, so we have to define Firebase auth and auth. Another private edit text, we have two edit text, email, comma, password. Now another variable is button, so private button, our button is button login. And then there is a text view, private text view, we'll write it text register. Now it's time to initialize them. So write mauth equal to Firebase auth dot get instance. So our auth variable is initialized, then initialize the email and password, find view by ID, r.id dot login email. Then password equal to find view by ID, r.id dot login password. Button login equal to find view by ID, r.id dot login. These are the IDs which were defined in the XML. Then text register, find view by ID, r.id dot text register. So all the variables have been initialized. Now let us create button login dot set on click listener, new view dot on click listener. So here we are defining a function login, and let us create the function in the login activity outside the onCreate. Now inside the login, we will create a string first, string user equal to, and it will take the data from email edit text box. So email dot get text dot to string dot trim, it is better to trim. Then string password, so we'll write pass equal to password is our placeholder where we get text dot to string dot trim. Now if user is empty, we'll check. So then we will set an error, email dot set error, and inside the bracket we can write email cannot be empty. This is the error message which will be showing if the user is empty and you press the button. Secondly, again the same thing, we will write if password is empty, pass dot is empty, password dot set error, password cannot be empty. Else if everything is correct, then mauth dot, we will write sign in with email and password. So this is the function which will interact with Firebase and will allow user to sign in with the credentials. Now we have to add on complete listener. So dot add on complete listener. These things will come, put a semicolon here. And there is a task variable. So if the task is successful, we will show a toast message inside the login activity. So write login activity dot this, and the text will be login successful. Then start activity, we will move from login activity dot this to main activity. So if login is successful, we will go to the dashboard page, our home activity. Main activity dot class, which is already there. Else, if task is not successful, you just copy the toast here and change the text, login failed. It also add along with that plus task dot get exception dot get message. So it will also show the internal error messages along with our message. So our sign in is created. Now what we will do, we will write text register dot set on click listener, new view, start activity, new intent, login activity dot this comma register activity dot class. So if a user clicks on the text register where we have written, if you are a new user, click here, click on the register. So if you click, you will go to the another activity, which is a basically register page. So everything is properly done here. Login activity is completed. Now create another similar activity, which will be empty activity, and we will name it register activity, and click finish. And you can see the register activity has been created, and go to the layout and change it to relative layout as we are doing for all the other XMLs. So create the margin here of 10 dp like we did for other XMLs. Now go to the login XML and copy the entire thing, because this page is almost going to look similar to the login page. So copy and paste it here. Now we have to change all the IDs and all the details. So instead of text login, first our text view, will change it to text register. And also, so there is an error coming because it is repeated. So here in the bottom text, we will change it to text login. So now the error is gone. And enter login credentials, we will change it to register here. Then on the edit text, this is the new ID, so it should be below that. So we will change edit text to text register layout below. And now the ID of the edit text will be register email. We'll change it. Then this should be below, the secondary text should be below that. So I'll copy this and paste it here, layout below. So it will be placed below the first edit box. Here also the secondary text ID will change to register password. Let us keep everything the same. And then copy this ID for the next button. So just paste it and the error is gone. ID will be changing to register, and text also we will change it to register. Now the text view, it should be below the register ID, the button. And the text of the text view, we will change it to existing user login. So this way everything is changed. The ID is text login here for our text view. Let us go to the design. So we can see register here, 2 edit box, 1 register button, and 1 text. So our activity register.xml is ready. Now go to the activity. Again, go to the login and copy the entire variables because they are mostly similar. So we'll paste it here and we will change the only button name. So we can change it to button, from button logout to button register. Now text view also, text register too, we will write now text login. Similarly, copy all the initializations code, all the 5 variables, copy and paste. Now change the name, like just button register and text login. Change the respective IDs, register email for email, then password, register password is the ID we have defined. Then for the button register, our ID is register. Select from the drop down. Then text login, our ID is text login. So now all the variables are initialized. So let us start with the button register dot set on click listener, new view on click listener. So inside that we will define a function register activity or register simply. So this function is not there, so we have to create inside the register activity. So inside the register, what we will do, we are gonna get our let us create the another set on click listener for our text login. So similarly, new view on click listener. Inside that we will write start activity, new intent register activity. dot this comma login activity. So this is similar to our login activity where there was a text where we clicked on, we came to register. So here in the register activity also there is a text at the bottom, which is if you are already a user, existing user, you can click on that and you can go to the login page. So there are two clickable widgets in our activity, just like the login activity. Now in the register activity, again, let us copy the entire string and conditions to the two if functions up to the else, let us take, and copy them. So everything will be same. So inside the else we will write mauth dot create user with email and password, and the user and password are from the edit text box, and let us define it here, and dot add on complete listener, new on complete listener. So inside on complete task, so now we have the task. So if task is successful, we can write the function toast message that register activity dot this inside this activity, and the message will be user registered successfully. Once the user is registered, we can start the activity new intent. We can so register activity dot this comma main activity. So once the registration is successful, we will land up to the main page, our home page. Else we can show again the toast if the registration is not successful. So register activity dot this text registration failed, and we can also add the additional internal error message plus task dot get exception. Put the semicolon here. Now let us run and see how it works. So write ppp@gmail.com, then put the password and click the register. You come to the home page, then you can press logout and you come to the again login page, and inside the login page, if you put the same email and password, you see come to the again the main page. Then you press the logout and you can see if you enter the wrong credentials, you will see that it is not there is a failure message coming here. Our exception error has come. So this way it is done. So now you can go to your Firebase console and refresh the authentication. So you will see the user here. From here you can reset the password, disable account, delete account, all these options you can do. You can see the one user has been added here, which is your email ID, and you can see when it is created and when it is signed in, and you can see user ID also. This way it is done. So I hope everything is clear and you learned something from this. Thank you, friends.